Hello and welcome in a new lecture of English literature and linguistics. Today we will discuss few important literary terms and genres. So let's start. The first one is autobiography. Autobiography is someone's history of life that is written by herself or himself. Means is the history of one's life written by oneself. Act is the major division of a drama. Antithesis is actually a contrast or polarity in meaning. Allusion is a kind of reference to an idea, to a place, to a person or text existing outside the literary work. The next one is allegory. Allegory is actually a literary work that has an implied meaning. Alliteration is called the repetition of a consonant in two or more words. Ballad is a lyrical song which tells a story. Biography is the history of a person's life by one else, by someone else. In autobiography, the person himself or herself write down the history of his own life or her own life, but in biography, someone else write down the history of someone else's life. Blank verses written in iambic pentameter without any rhyme pattern or any set pattern are called blank verse. Comedy is a genre of play written to entertain its audience and ends happily. Classical means any writing that conforms to the rules and mores of old Greek and Latin writings. Canto is a subdivision of an epic or a narrative poem comparable to a chapter in a novel. Chorus is actually called a group of singers who stand alongside the stage in a drama. Catharsis is some kind of emotional release of pity and fear that the tragic incidences in a tragedy arouse to an audience. Comic relief is something reverse to the catharsis. It is actually a humorous scene in a tragedy to eliminate the tragic effect from audience and relieve their senses. Couplet, two lines of the same material length usually found in Shakespearean sonnets. Shakespeare has used this kind of couplet in his work, particularly in his sonnets. Catastrophe is the downfall of the protagonist or the hero in a tragedy, while didactic is a literary work which aims at teaching and instructing its readers. Dirge is a short functional term, while diction is a selection of words in literary work. The words we used in a literary work, either it is a poem or either it is a novel or drama or anything else. Dialect is the language of particular district or city or class or a group of people. Dramatical monologue is a term which is mainly associated with Robert Browning, and in a poem when a single person speaks along with or without an audience is called dramatical monologue. The best example is My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Fra Lippo, The Last Ride Together by Browning also. So, difference between drama and novel: a drama is meant to be performed, whereas a novel is meant to be read. Difference between stanza and paragraph: a stanza contains verses, whereas a paragraph contains prosaic lines. Epic is a long narrative poem composed on a grand scale and is exalted style, like Paradise Lost by Milton or the Paradise Regain by Milton, Samson and Agnes, blah blah. Epilogue is the concluding part of a longer poem or a novel or a drama. The concluding part, the ending part. Fable is a brief story which illustrates some kind of morality. So it is mainly illustrating a moral and revolves around the morality. Farce, a form of low comedy designed to provoke some kind of laughter. Foot is a basic unit of meter. Fiction is an imaginative narrative in prose. Elegy is a poem which mourns the death of an individual or lament for a tragic event like the Shelley's, P.B. Shelley's, the Adonis, and Memoriam by Tennyson. And there are so many elegies that we found in English poetry. The next one is genre, means category or types of literature like epic, ode, ballad, drama, novel, etc. Hyperbole is an overstatement or exaggeration. Image is the mental picture that is connected with metaphor, smile, and symbol. Sorry, this is not smile. This is simile and symbol. Limerick is a short poem of a 5-line stanza rhyming AABA rhyming scheme. So this limerick follows the AABA rhyming scheme. A lyric is a short poem expressing a simple mood. It is usually personal and musical, like Keats' Odes, Ode to the Grecian urn, Ode to the Melancholy. So this is the personal mood of Keats that he represents in his odes. So this is called lyric. Linguistics is the scientific and systematic study of language. Melodrama, a highly sensational drama with happy ending. For example, the Spanish tragedy by Thomas Kit, which introduced the first time bloodshed in drama, and Thomas Kit belongs to the Renaissance period. Metaphysical poetry, meta means beyond and physical is related to body. Mock epic, it is a long satirical poem in which we found the chunks of satire dealing with a trivial theme, for example, the rape of the lock, Alexander Pope. In this long poem, we find the flavors of mockery. The theme is very trivial and common, but right down in the style of an epic. Metaphor is an implicit comparison between two different things. He is a lion heart. It is actually a metaphor. But when we say that he is like a lion, when we use as and like, that is actually simile. But when we borrow the whole qualities without using as and like, that is actually metaphor. Meter, the recurrence of similar stress pattern in some lines of a poem. Novel is a long prose narrative fiction with plot, characters, chain of events, etc. Novelette is a longer, is actually a kind of novel, but shorter than novel and longer than a story. So it is a middle kind of genre between story and novel. Ode is a long narrative poem of varying line length dealing with serious subject matter. Objectivity, we have objectivity in literary piece when the author focuses on an object from broadened point of view. Octave is an 8-line Italian sonnet and the first part of the Italian sonnet. Oxymoron is apparently a physical contrast which only makes sense on a deeper level. Prologue is the beginning part, is the starting part of a novel or a play or a novel. Prose is any metrical that is not written in a regular meter like a poetry. Prosody is the mechanics or grammar of a verse. Protagonist is the hero or the main character in a literary work, in a drama, in a novel, or in a poem, in an epic. Plot, the arrangement of incidents, is called plot, the chain of events. Pun is playing is a is a term that is used, that is playing with the words. Periods of English literature. There are so many periods in English literature, which in some which are actually associated with the rulers, the centuries, the important movements of that very times, like the Anglo-Saxon, the Anglo-Norman, Middle English, Renaissance, Restoration, um, Neoclassical Romantics, Victorian, early Victorians, later Victorians, moderns, postmoderns, etc. Romanticism is a literary movement and it stands opposite to reason and focuses on emotion, and obviously stands opposite to classicism. Rhetoric is the art of persuasive argument through writing. Symbol is anything that stands for something else. Sonnet is a lyric poem consisting of 14 rhymed lines dealing with a lofty theme. Satire is ridiculing the vices and follies of an individual or a society with a corrective design. For example, The Rape of the Lock by Alexander Pope.